What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, we just gotta get right on into it. Y'all know I'm a Duke fan, so this one, on one hand, makes me excited. On the other hand, I feel a little bit bad. And on the other hand, I feel like I'm in the alternate universe. I got to talk about these boys and try to come to the defense of somebody from a UNC. That's right, I'm talking about UNC, ladies and gentlemen, North Carolina. They just fired their head coach, Hubert Davis. Now, as a sports fan, it's very tough to see. I don't like seeing people get fired, but so much, to be clear. I like everybody get their paper. But as an African-American male, I would like to say it does suck to see a minority lose his job, especially when I feel like he didn't really deserve it too much, right? We're talking about 5 seasons of play, okay? 2022. Hubert Davis leads UNC to the title game. I understand you if you feel like those are Roy's boys, meaning Coach Roy's former team. I get you. I hear you. I hear the fact that he was up 15 at the half and you lose by 3. I hear you. You also lost one of your best players during the game. I think that factors in. But again, you got to the big game. You got to the big dance. You got to the title game. That's got to factor in for something. 2023, you were the preseason number 1 team. And then y'all don't end up hitting March Madness because you lost a good amount of games. I hear that. I hear the gripe from UNC fans. I genuinely do. But I think the players got to be culpable as well, too, right? I mean, they played the damn game. I'm just saying. 2024, you were the number 1 seed. So after you did not make March Madness, you become a number 1 seed. You lose in the Sweet 16, but again, you got to the Sweet 16. That's nothing to overly scoff at. My Blue Devils right now, if we lost to St. John's, would I be hurt? Yes. Would I call this season a failure? Because, again, Sweet 16 is nothing to be guaranteed. We almost lost to Siena in the first round as a 1 seed. That's happened. So, again, 1 seed for UNC in 2024, I respect it. Now, 2025, you lose in the first round. That was R.J. Davis's final season. To be clear, Drake Powell was the only player from that team to go to the NBA. And he was not the best player on that team at that point in time. Ian Jackson was the highest rated recruit that season, higher than Drake Powell. Ian Jackson is still in college. So again, 2025, you didn't really have but so much and you lose in the first round. 2026, this season, again, you lose in the first round. They were up. Yes, you did not have your best player in Caleb Wilson due to injury. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot that happened during his tenure. And some things were justifiable, to be clear. Why should we fire Hubert Davis? Well, I remember when he actually went to the Final Four, right, in the title game. I said to my boy, the sad thing is this could potentially set Hubert up for failure because the fans are going to be expecting him to get to the title game again pretty soon. They're going to have very unlofty expectations going forward. And I think we've hit that point now. Again, to fire him, reasons why. You lost the leads in the championship game in 2022 and then also 2026 as well. I hear you. You could say that you have a gripe with him not recruiting the best, especially when you're looking at Durham, Bull City, right? Duke Blue Devils. We've been doing our thing over the last couple seasons. And then I hear you if you're saying that maybe you lost support from your donors. Because, I mean, it's business at this point in time. I get that. But why should we keep him? Well, we got to remember, he got to the title game in 2022, and they were a number 8 seed. That's nothing to scoff at, ladies and gentlemen. Again, yes, that was Roy Williams' former team, Roy's boys. Still, Hubert Davis is the one that got them there. 2025, again, like I said, you didn't have but so much. 2023, to excuse him a little bit, he still takes blame, Hubert Davis meaning. But the players got to be culpable too. Because again, they were just in the title game, just preseason number 1. They're the ones who are playing the games. It's effort. And maybe they didn't have enough effort. And it shows that it wasn't completely on the coach because the very next season, they were a number 1 seed. And you can't say, oh, well, they brought in good players and that's the reason why. No, they had basically the same team. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I can't blame them but so much. And again, he coached a number 1 seed team. Got to give him credit for that. 2026, this season, I'm not going to give him too much slack because, hey, you lost your best player in Caleb Wilson, a top 5 pick this season. That's got to matter. Henry Vessar, does well, but he misses the final 2 free throws. That's got to factor in. That's got to factor in. That could have sent it to overtime, which then UNC might win that game and go on to the next round. But shout out to VCU for handling our light work. Fingers crossed my boys still do our thing. But shout out to VCU because they did beat us back in the day, too. I just need Lehigh to beat UNC now. But these are reasons why you should keep Hubert Davis. He's also recruited 2 top 10 high school players. I can't say that you're supposed to get a whole bunch of top 10 recruits when you already had a quality studded team between the seasons of 2022 and 2024. You can argue over 2025, but again, you got Ian Jackson, and imagine if Ian had stayed and played with Caleb Wilson. Maybe that's solid. Maybe that's something. But again, that didn't happen because Ian eventually left. You can argue over that, UNC fans, but I can't say that you should have fired him. Now, I asked a UNC fan this question because it came up to my mind. What if Hubert and UNC won the title in 2022? Does Hubert Davis end up losing his job? Because if we're going to be real about it, let's just go ahead and call a spade a spade. We got to remember that Roy's team didn't do but so well. Let's go back to 2017, right? Let's go back to 2017. They lose 7 games. Kudos to them. And that's right after they had just won the championship, right? Which they had, again, lost 7 games. Next season, they lose 18. Again, this was with Roy Williams, by the way. 19, you lose 7 games. All right, cool. 2020, you lose 19 games. You actually have a losing record. 14 wins, 19 losses. God, that's tough. 2021, you lose 11 games. Now, again, I told y'all this is where Hubert Davis joins. 2022, you lose 10 games. 2023, you lose 13. That was your worst season, by the way. 2024, you lose 8 games. It wasn't a bad season for y'all. 2025, you lose 14 games. That one was tough. But you still go to March Madness. And it's crazy because in 2023, you don't go to March Madness with 13 losses. You go with more losses in March Madness than you did in 2023. I'm just saying. And then this season, you lost 9. And to be clear, they actually did something that only 2 teams have done this season, which was beat Duke, my boys. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I can't be but so mad at Buddy when he's actually done a fairly spectacular job coaching UNC. Again, ladies and gentlemen, are fans too impatient? I genuinely believe so. Now, are there times where I've questioned, should we keep John Shire? Yeah, sure, I've said that. I've said the same thing about J.J. Redick, but you know what? As a Laker fan, just keep in mind, not when he was at Duke, he could stay anytime he wanted to. But coaching, though, it's tough to judge coaches sometimes, just like it's tough to judge players. We need to be a little bit patient. We need to be a little patient because that's when you get a fair assessment. I don't think we have a fair assessment of Hubert Davis as a head coach for UNC. Again, the last time Roy Williams team, like a Roy Williams recruit, was on the squad, the last season was 2025. So that means this season was the first season that we're supposed to judge Hubert Davis. And to be clear, again, like I said, you have a top 5 pick. Like that's what he recruited. You beat what ended up being the best overall team in Duke because we are the number 1 overall seed. We were the number 1 ranked team coming into March Madness. So that is a fair statement to say. I can't imagine him getting the boot off of this one, especially when he hasn't got you to the title game. But again, maybe I'm just nice about it. I've talked to UNC fans. Some of them say they are extremely happy. Some of them say they're in the middle where they understand both of keep him and fire him. I can understand you wanting to fire him, but I think they should have kept him. To be clear, shout out to Tyler Perry. This might be one of the first times I said that. But there was a pros and cons list that I got, and I kind of thought about it off of one of his movies. And on my pro and cons list, I got more pros than I do cons. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I think it was a bit too early to fire Hubert Davis. Give him an extra season or 2 to see how the team does. Because I think that he could have gone a little further than the first round next season or the season after, especially if he recruits well. Now we'll never know. But again, ladies and gentlemen, as fans, whether you're just watching, whether you're an analyst, whether you're a donor, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you really just need to sit back and enjoy the moment, enjoy the ride. Because what happens if they turned it around and won a championship next season? That's a really solid 6-year tenure right there, to be honest with you. Not a lot of coaches can say they got into the championship game and a Sweet 16 and coached the number 1 seed. I'm just saying, Hubert's not that bad. I've heard him be called the Doc Rivers of college basketball. That's a bit tough. Because, one, that's a little bit tough on Doc, too. I understand Doc can have some gripes, some knocks on him, but damn, that's tough. Like that's tough. There's a difference between blowing multiple 3-1 leads and losing a lead in college basketball. Because we've seen leads diminish real quick. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you take anything away from this, just understand that, one, I feel weird arguing for UNC to keep their coach as a Duke fan, personally. But two, understand that we can be a little bit impatient at times, and it's very annoying to see that. That's why I got to self-check myself, make sure I ain't talking too crazy. But again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So again, I'm curious, where do you all land? Do you feel like UNC was too impatient in letting Hubert Davis, their head coach, go? Or are you siding with some of the UNC fans and saying that, hey, they should have let Buddy go, he was trash, blah, 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 blah. I'm curious your thoughts. But ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard my take. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you are all having a good one. Take care.